What is the benefit of chanting Paritta? What is the benefit of chanting? I know that the chanting, especially my chanting, is very, very powerful for getting rid of ghosts. Now, monks like me are the very best ghostbusters. The reason is, when I chant at a haunted house, my chanting is so bad that no ghost can stand it. Oh, I'm getting out of here, I'm getting out of here. That's why. Because people are far too superstitious. All this chanting, I already mentioned to you, I messed up once. And I did the funeral chanting at a marriage. That was Paritta chanting and funeral chanting. It didn't matter. They still thought it was very good and I had a wonderful time. And still give a big donation to my temple. I never actually told them. I should have really given the donation back. But the chanting of the Paritta, it can work, to be serious, on two levels, but it very rarely works. Sometimes it does. It works, number one, if the monk knows what they're talking about, who's doing the chanting. Because some of those chants are very powerful teachings. So powerful they can actually get the monk to be very, very strong mind and can actually do things. And the other is it can actually bring these heavenly beings around to help out. So there's many, I can't tell my own personal stories, but one of the stories about the power of chanting, the power of Paritta chanting, is this Thai monk. He was a forest monk. And when he went to visit one of our monasteries in California, in San Francisco, the monk who was receiving him at the airport just asked to look at his passport to make sure that his visa was proper so he could stay the number of days he was supposed to stay. So when he saw the visa of this Thai forest monk, he was so surprised to see this Thai forest monk had a diplomatic visa for the rest of his life, no expiry date, to enter in the United States whenever he wanted and go through the diplomatic channels. That's where you don't queue up, straight through. And he said, how on earth, in time of Homeland Security, did you get a diplomatic visa? This is true story. This is not one of my jokes. This is true. I've got to say that. How did you get that visa? And this is the story he told. And it's been corroborated. It's actually quite a well-known story now. NASA in Houston, Texas, the National Aeronautical Space Agency, which sends up all these space stations and all these probes to Mars and everywhere. This is NASA. They were installing a new mainframe computer in their headquarters in Houston, costing many hundreds of millions of dollars. Once it was installed, they couldn't boot it up. They couldn't make it work. There was some problem with it. So they called in every professor and IT expert from the whole of the country, flying them in first class as soon as they possibly could, because every hour that computer wasn't working was costing them millions. No one could fix it. There was one Thai Buddhist engineer who was working there, and he mentioned, if all the best experts in the whole country can't fix his computer, the big mainframe computer, perhaps, he said, it must be something supernatural. He said, I know you guys don't believe in that, but it doesn't cost us anything because there's a Thai monk staying in the temple in Houston who can come up and just give him a cup of tea and he'll do whatever you want. I don't know if he had a cup of tea, I don't know what cup of Pepsi or whatever that Thai monk liked. So they invited this Thai monk, just because it wouldn't cost them anything, into the mainframe computer room in Houston, in the headquarters of NASA. And he meditated and chanted some Paritta chants. And as soon as he finished, this is no exaggeration, as soon as he finished, that computer worked perfectly. And they were so impressed they used their connections, because NASA has such connections, to get this forest monk a diplomatic visa with no expiry date, just in case they needed to call him at a moment's notice. So if you're having trouble with your computer, Namo Tassa Bhagavata. Ask the Venables to come and do some Paritta chants. You never know. It doesn't cost very much. That's a true story. It actually happened. So it's amazing. Or I'll tell you another story. This is even funnier. There was, again, these are true stories. Nothing could improve on the joy of a true story.